Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Dawn here after a week's break. Ooh. Head down in manuscript, smashing out around about 15,000 words a day. And whilst that might sound like a very scary number to a lot of people, for me, it's something that inspires and motivates me. It allows me to just purge a lot of stuff that's been inside my body or inside my mind taking up space. And taking up space is something that a lot of people, especially women, have not done over the years. We don't take up space. We don't own our space. We don't speak up about the things that are happening within our space. There are lots of things inside our sphere of consciousness that influence us. And I wanted to talk about influence today because I had a very interesting conversation with somebody recently about me becoming an influencer for their brand. Now, I get quite a few requests, and sometimes I think, why on earth would you want me to be an influencer for your brand when there is nothing in alignment with your company as with my company? And then we look at the statistics that people are looking for when it comes to how many people you need to have follow you, how many interactions you have every month on your Instagram following. So, for example, I was told by somebody that they would be very keen to have me as an influencer, but they would want to see me having a minimum of 10,000 people on my Instagram and over 50,000 impressions every month on my Instagram page. Now, whilst I could just go out and buy these Instagram followers, it's something that Mark Pooler and I were discussing a couple of weeks ago. They wouldn't really be people who would buy from me. They would just be people taking up space in my energetic field. And this is the thing, we have so many things that take up space. Traveling around the world, I don't carry a lot of stuff with me. You'll have noticed that I sometimes show up in the same clothing. I go through my clothing on a regular basis, and I've been working with Ms. Jenny on building and creating a capsule wardrobe. And one of the things I found really interesting here in Brazil is how tiny the clothing is, how revealing the clothing is. And I'm like, it's not really my style. It's not the kind of stuff that I want to be wearing. I'm finding it difficult. And there was a brand that we found, perfect, complete alignment with where I'm heading with my branding, with my business. There were sailors. It was all organic. It was natural clothing, natural fabrics. But the clothing, even in an extra large, there was no way that that was a size 14 in England. It was probably not even a size 12 in English sizes. The women here in Brazil are not small ladies. They're curvy ladies. I'm also a very curvy lady. Now, I average around about a size 12 to 14 in English sizes. And even though these clothes are marketed for women of a certain age and of a certain income level, I had to ask myself, is this responsible influencing? Is this a responsible brand? And then it got me thinking about the company that wanted me to be an influencer for them. I was only going to be an adequate influencer for them if that I would take photographs of myself lying by the pool in a bikini, or on a boat in a bikini, showcasing my body to the whole world, and if I could get 10,000 followers, fake followers. And then I looked at some of the other influencers that they've got. And it just got me thinking that some of these influencers that are here where I get talking to them because Brazil is huge for social media, especially Instagram followers, and there's a lot of social media management companies here. And one of the things that comes up quite a lot is a lot of these female influencers that do these bikini shots, they live on 3 eggs a day and a packet of super noodles. This is really scary. And the other day I saw something and I took a screenshot of it. And it was an app or an application that came out, and it showed 2 girls. It's called the iMetrics.analytics. And you've got 2 young girls sitting on the bed, and it says, I unfollowed him. He didn't care about me at all. And then her friend, who's on her phone, says, but he visited your Instagram 11 times today. And I thought to myself, how worrying is that? That we now actually have apps that are feeding the insecurities of the ones that are already insecure. And what can we, as leading ladies and gentlemen, as business leaders around the world, how can we show up? What messages can we put out there? What articles can we write? How can we help shift this balance and actually help these young women feel more confident in themselves and actually give a better influence to others? Because I don't want to be an influencer for any brand if it's teaching other women to be disempowered, to keep checking their social media. I don't want to be influencing people into feeling bad about their bodies or bad about their performance. I don't want to be influencing clothing and being a brand ambassador for a clothing range where a size 12 to 14 is seen as extra, extra large. That's not extra large. And it's just really interesting how we have allowed clothing companies to dictate to us whether we are large or extra small. And this is an age-old thing. This has been going on my whole life, clothing sizing. We're allowing ourselves to be dictated by numbers of followers. We're allowing ourselves to be dictated by how much we weigh, what the size of our clothing is, how much we're earning, how much we're bench pressing or how far we're running, how many macros we're eating, and how many meals a day we're eating, or how many, squats we're doing. And I just thought, how many of us are fed up with this? And what are we doing to change the way in which the young girls that are coming through now are seeing themselves? What are we doing? How can we make a better difference? Now, we already have this fabulous magazine. We already are in our preeminent self. I've chosen today to come on without makeup on, because the other influence that's needed as well, you can probably see I have some blemishes on my skin. I asked for something that was gluten-free the other day, and it wasn't gluten-free. Within 15 minutes of me, it did come with chilies, so I thought that my mouth was tingling, my lips were tingling because of the chilies. Within 15 minutes, my whole face was itching. Within maybe in a couple of hours, my stomach was cramping. And one of the things that I'm finding is people don't take food allergies seriously enough. And all of this is happening. And I was like, okay, this is really interesting. I'm in a different country with a different culture. And I love learning. And I love learning about the different cultures, but the influences here and the influences in my space, I am really paying attention, because one of the things that we're seeing at the moment is Brazil is one of the countries that's got its doors open. Lots of people from outside of Brazil and outside of Latin America are going to be coming here for a holiday because it's a hot country and it's relatively cheap. And what influences are going to be being brought over here, and how is what's happening here influencing the rest of the world? I find it really intriguing that even though this is a country, the area where I am is predominantly, there's a lot of tourists, and yet they're not ready for people with alternative eating habits or alternative diets or alternative body shapes. The bikinis are itsy bitsy, teeny weeny bikinis. And my son really doesn't want to be seeing his mother in one of those bikinis. My son influences my choice. My sons influence what I put out on social media, because I'm protecting them from stuff that's going on in the social spectrum. They don't want their mum on social media bearing all, because their friends are on social media. And it's how we're showing up and what we're allowing in our space, what we're speaking up against. Yesterday when I went back to the cafe and I ordered the same meal, and I mentioned to them, please, can you make sure that it's gluten-free this time? But I went there with a really calm, really friendly attitude. And I got exactly what I wanted. The young girl and I had a really fabulous conversation. We found a solution. She started to understand a lot more about the allergy, even though I'm not celiac. But how are we, just by being who we are, how are we teaching and how are we influencing change in our everyday life by how we're showing up? I'm sat in a conference room at the moment because I've been able to influence the people here with a different kind of co-working, a different kind of business, and I'm giving them lots of feedback. I could just get frustrated by it, but I'm saying, oh, did you know? What about this? Have you thought about this? Oh, this would be really great. Do you know where I could get this from? Because I just really would like this, like earplugs. And I'm finding that the things I'm asking for, they're turning up in reception. They're turning up on the menu. So different kind of influence. And I know many of you will already be aware of this, but it's always good for us to be reminded. I've been reminded how much clearer I need to be with my food and my food requests. I've been reminded of what it's like to enter a new culture and a new language, and new body shapes, and new attitudes towards body shapes. So I just wanted to leave that with you. How are we influencing? What kind of influencers are we? What are we going to be allowing in our space? Who are we going to be allowing in our space? And how much space are we taking up so that we can make a bigger difference, so that we can influence more positively, and so that the younger girls that are coming through now, how can we lead them more effectively? Bit of a quieter one today, more of a reflective one for you today. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'd love to know how you're influencing and what are the things in your space that you're paying attention to, and how you're going to be part of the change that's needed in the world. Sending you all much love from Brazil, and I'll chat with you soon. Ciao, ciao.